A major issue in this race is childcare, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep them away.
So good.
And so true.
So good.
Frankly. Okay, so when last we spoke, the Doug Emhoff story, part 2, had hit the Daily Mail. Hit, being the operative word. It hit the Daily Mail, and he hit his ex-girlfriend, according to the Daily Mail. He's denied it. Since then, he's been on, by my count, at least 5 or 6 podcasts and shows, and literally 0 people have asked him about it. 0.
Do you happen to know, like, how many of those hosts may have been women? Were any of them women?
One, Molly Jung Fast.
Oh, that one. Oh, please.
Thinks of herself, purports to be a feminist.
And a serious political commentator, neither of which she is.
Exactly right. And she asked him nothing, not one word about it, a total fail. And then he goes on a show called Uncomfortable Conversations with somebody named Emmanuel Acho. Uncomfortable Conversations. Hello, Emmanuel. Now it's your big moment. Do your thing. It's in your show name. And here is a little bit of how that went.
But tell me something about yourself that I can't find on Google.
Ooh, I've never had that question before. Well, Google doesn't show your character.
Okay.
I mean, Google can't really show, how I grew up and how my father and my mother raised me, and the fact that they're 87 and 83 and they're still around. They've been together almost 70 years, and the values that they imparted on me of loyalty, your family first, hard work, sticking up for others, not taking any crap, and, just being there for other people.
Sure, Dan.
Your go-to. I love it. I love it. I also love the dropping of the G's when it gets close to Election Day by the elite. We're just regular people talking to you morons out there, relating like we do.
It's so true. Like, this is an opportunity for me to show you how relatable I am with my mom and my dad, and definitely not about me banging the nanny or slapping around my ex.
Those were the values they imparted to me.
Right.
My really great old parents, they really, and it's a good thing Google can't tell your character, Doug. It's a really great thing there's no x-ray for that yet.
It's got me now worried about the parents.
Yeah, seriously.
What exactly did they teach you?
What are your values? He and Kamala love to talk about their values. What are they?
So then he goes on with Dan Le Batard, who I guess is a sports analyst. And I don't, the audience know much about sports, and I know even less about the analysts who talk about it. But here's a little bit of how that went when he was asking Doug Emhoff about the switcheroo and the day that Kamala found out, totally passively.
Oh, right.
That she'd been elevated to the position of nominee. Watch.
You said that communication is key, but she couldn't communicate with you immediately to tell you that Joe Biden had stepped down, correct? You were busy in spin class, right?
That was right. So it was, I was in LA. It was during that weekend when all the planes were down because of the software glitch. So I had to spend an extra day in LA. I decided to go to a cycling class with some friends, and it was an hour class, and we were just chit-chatting. I had my phone in the Secret Service car, so I didn't have my phone. And then my friend's partner just showed me his phone with the letter from President Biden, and I'm like, gotta go, and just ran into the car, and there was my phone, literally, like, you could feel the steam, 7 or 8 messages, all with, where are you? Call Kamala. And it was a 1 minute or less conversation, which started with, where the F were you? I need you right now. And basically get to work.
That's so weird. I've never spoken to Doug like that in our 18 years together, ever. Where the F were you? I don't care how big the news is. Like, what? Who talks to their spouse like that?
Maybe someone who's often wondering where their husband is talks like that.
Now you're onto something.
Yeah, I think I am.
That's an interesting theory.
I think I am. Also, vis-a-vis this media blackout. So Bill Maher did his regular show last Friday. He waited until the overtime segment, which nobody watches because you have to tune into a whole other, who's got the time. That's when he brings up the Doug Emhoff story. That's when he says to his panel, don't you think this media blackout is disturbing? Well, I don't know, Bill. If you think it's that disturbing, why don't you do it on your actual show that people watch?
Let's elevate it to the actual airtime.
And any of these other broadcasters who I've never heard of before, you want to make a headline for yourself?
Yes.
Do it.
Right.
Ask the question.
Just ask it. Get him to deny it. The thing about the Bill Maher segment that was interesting was Laura Coates of CNN was on there.
She was infuriating.
So she's like, well, I don't know anything about that. I don't know much about that. I'm like, why not? It's a massive story. The Daily Mail is one of the most popular circulations in the world. You don't ever look at it. You don't follow politics. You have a whole show where you talk about politics. This one just escaped your notice somehow. Bullshit. You know all about it. You decided to reject it because it hurts your side. And then she follows up with, I do think it's really important to make sure of allegations before one reports them. You do? Tell that to Nick Sandmann, who your network smeared, suggesting he was antagonizing a Native American on the steps of the Supreme Court, making a smirky face at him while he just innocently danced on the steps. And the truth was exactly the opposite. Nick Sandmann was there minding his own business, being polite, and he was getting antagonized by that guy, which is why he sued them for defamation, and they were forced to settle. Tell it to the hands up, don't shoot morons who are on CNN. That's how that got started. Sonny Hostin and the others, hands up, don't shoot. They're holding their little signs. Did you investigate that one? Before you ran with those allegations, Jussie Smollett is not. Please, they always run with this shit before they verified it. They just don't like it when it hurts their side.
Number one, she got an entire pass on that show. She is an intellectual lightweight, and that is putting it politely because she's a black woman. So let's get real, okay? Bill Maher loves nothing more than to go in on his women guests and like roll his eyes at them and call them stupid. He does it all the time.
But not in this case.
Not in this case. She was treated as though the profundities were just rolling off her tongue, and she sat there in her full, much in the way Sonny Hostin does. I am self-actualized, and everything I have to say is like, it's like manna from heaven, and the smugness and all of it, and it's just insufferable. And as to her completely flimsy point, well, we need to look into this and make sure these allegations have some weight behind them. First of all, that's called doing your job.
Yeah.
Okay, Laura Coates?
Go ahead and investigate.
Go ahead and investigate all you want. We at the Daily Mail found 3 witnesses, ear witnesses, a contemporaneous outcry, the documentation, her airline tickets. How do you think we got those?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Did it just fall out of the sky
to
into your
say
lap?
nothing of our legal team, which puts me through the paces all the time. And that's for an opinion column.
I'm sure.
An opinion column. So don't treat our reporting like we're just, as Joe Scarborough said, these tabloid stories, Doug, about your personal life. Excuse me.
And the landing was something like, how do you deal with that? How do you center yourself, keep yourself centered, notwithstanding these attacks, which he doesn't specifically list out. So people in his audience don't know, if they haven't read it, that he's been accused of smacking a woman across the face, slapping her so hard she spun.
And the nanny, you were talking the other day about that LAPD call to her house that lines up with her timeline of pregnancy. And the nanny disclosing to people that she believed Doug's temper had caused her to lose that baby. This is a very, very, very serious allegation. Both of them are. And to just watch the media whistle past the graveyard and hope this goes away is disgusting.
Well, and how about Kamala Harris? She goes on that sex podcast, which you wrote a great column about, calling that host who decided to wear a sweatshirt to her interview with the vice president of the United States. You referred to her as a simpleton. This simpleton, of course, was not going to be able to ask any meaningful questions. But she goes on that sex podcast and starts railing about domestic violence and how we need to say something. You know, whether it happens on the street or behind closed doors, it's important that we say something. And it reminded me of that fake version of Kamala Harris who came out at the Brett Kavanaugh hearing? Like, I am woman, hear me roar. I will not take any shit from these male abusers. I'm going to protect the women of America. Oh, wait, unless it's my husband who is the alleged abuser. We pulled the sound. Let's watch some of it.
Judge Kavanaugh, have you taken a professionally administered polygraph test? All three of the women who have made sworn allegations against you have called for an independent FBI investigation into the claims. So I'm going to ask you one last time. Are you willing to ask the White House to authorize the FBI to investigate the claims that have been made against you?
The FBI would gather witness statements. You have
Sir,
the witness statements.
I don't want to debate with you how they do their business. And say yes or no, and then we can move on.
I've had 6 background investigations over 26 years.
Sir, as it relates to the recent allegations, are you willing to have them do it?
The witness testimony is before you. No witness who was there supports that I was there.
Okay, I'm going to take that as a no, and we can move on. Do you agree that it is possible for men to both be friends with some women and treat other women badly?
And she stood up and said to Christine Blasey Ford, who had far less evidence supporting her story than the woman in the Daily Mail, and said, I believe you. I believe you. Health has been a big topic around the country over the past few weeks. And one thing we don't talk about enough is how exercise plays a vital role in that. And it's not just cardio. We really need to look at strength training. More muscle helps to boost metabolism and helps as we age. But let's face it, many are intimidated when it comes to lifting weights at a gym, not to mention the fact that we are all busy and we don't necessarily have the time. This is where Jacked Up Fitness comes in. They bring the gym to you, a full machine that fits in your house and does it all. It's an all-in-one home gym. It allows you to do multiple strength training exercises. And best of all, it comes with access to their app, which includes multiple workouts where you just push play and follow along. Jacked Up Fitness is an American company, and they are giving 900 machines this year to the Wounded Warrior Project. So if you're looking to take charge of your health and help veterans on their road to recovery, order your home gym today at getjackedup.com and enter code MK for a 10% discount on your own home gym. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.